We regained our independence. But as John Henry Clark, that great African American, said, we regained independence by mimicking European governance systems. And he rightly says, no African country will ever succeed on the basis of those systems.
Here I'm chatting with Latino brother. You're welcome to Egon Tiger Production, brother. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Tell your viewer, what's your name, brother?
I'm David. I'm from DC. I've traveled not too many places. I've only got 3 places internationally under my belt besides the USA, but I'm all about spreading positivity and love, right? Gaining new life experiences, right? Spreading the good word, meeting new people such as him, right?
Bless you, brother, bless you. The life on this planet called Earth is love. Without love, I wouldn't be here. Where were you born?
I was born here in DC.
And do you remember maybe your great-grandparents came from?
Yeah, so I'm actually Mexican on both sides. I never got the chance to meet my grandfather from my father's side, but from my mother's side, I know everybody very well. I just actually recently went to Mexico to go and meet some of the side of my father that I never got to meet before, and I'm 27 now, so.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, like, I didn't never meet these people, right?
So young indeed, brother, man.
Yeah.
The uprising in Africa, we have Anglophone, we have Francophone, which are the major. Now, that brother called Ibrahim Traoré, I'm sure you heard about him.
In Burkina Faso, yeah, I was uneducated about him until maybe a month ago now. We're in June. I love geopolitics, right? I love economics, all that stuff. It's a lot of stuff that people would normally just brush off, that I don't care about.
I'm so happy that I met somebody who is vibrant, openly understanding what really the entire whole global world is, because this life is involved common love, because the French says l'amour sans frontières, love without borders. You don't judge someone by looking at he or her because of the color, but it's the content that is in the heart. That is what Martin Luther King said. What we're looking for is the progressive of every country, whether you're Latino, Africa, America, Caribbean, Asian, Russia, it doesn't matter. Well, a child grew up that this child will always be with his or her parents.
They have an idea that once you're 18, it's time to go. It's time to get out of the house, right? You're on your own. A representation of your upbringing, of your family.
You want your child now to be independent of his or herself. What you would tell your son or your daughter?
Yes, never give up, right? Every single day you have the same 24 hours that everybody else has, right? Once you throw in the towel, so to speak, it's over. Once you do that, right? You give up on life, or you're giving up on yourself. Before you have all the money in the world, but still feel lonely. All the friends, all the networking, right?
Oh, brother, man. It's because this life is a conscious. Anyone that has subconscious mind think of only pain. When you are in pain, you don't think of anything better than to get that pain off your shoulder.
Yeah.
So, brother, man, do you heard about Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso?
Yeah, they've already tried to kill him a couple of times. Man. It's insane. They're really going after him crazy, right? I think since he first took office, I think what's it like 2 coup attempts now, right? Something like that. Yeah, it's a lot of people are out to get him, especially from the West too. I think that what happened in Libya over 10 years ago. It's something.
No. Colonel Gaddafi, he was trying to liberate the African country.
Yeah.
And they sent a black brother to go and fight a black brother. What is happening to the human race?
Try to have more power over the natural resources of countries overseas. It could be any country, Asia, South America, or right anywhere, when they try to have more control of the natural resources, man, it's usually not a good sign. It's an act of self-interest, right? They're trying to act for themselves and for their countrymen, right? You see what the French have done to a lot of different countries in Africa for the last, what, 200 years now? Yeah, man, things are going to be changing a lot, and you see that in Mexico too as well. So I'm from Mexico. It's so much corruptness too. The Mexican people are standing up for themselves now more than ever before, especially with this new president too, Claudia Sheinbaum. Right now, people have their opinions about her that aren't so good, but you know, when you look at it on paper, I mean, she's done so much in just so few time for the people in Mexico now, right? Whereas the previous few administrations, they only acted in self-interest. That's all that they wanted, right? They would steal only for themselves, for their rich buddies, right? That's all that they give a shit about.
Brother, man, I'm so glad that I met you.
You see that saying?
You are talking from the heart. You are talking from the heart. And thank God you have met a brother that is doing a job that solidates with the whole world, not just America.
I'm with it. I'm totally with it.
God will bless you.
Appreciate it.
Tell your audience, what's your name, brother?
I'm David. I'm from DC, and you know, I'm all about peace, love, and positivity, man. Just trying to be better day by day. You know, trying to spread the good word with people such as this gentleman like Matt Clark. Doing something good each and every day, like waking up with the goal, waking up with purpose. That's what it's all about.
Most side the prayer. The color has nothing to do with the mind, contents. Always say love and guidance. Bless her, bless her. Rasta, way I say. God bless, man. God bless, man. God bless. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man.
God is love.
Channel, man. What's your channel?
All the channel is Egon Tiger Vision TV. And it's my pleasure meeting brothers here, man. And I just want to have some conscious discussion. How are you feeling?
We're going to have awareness for our younger generation. Because from Malcolm X, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, all these brothers have been tried for years. Have to help our own community.
We'll be glad to tell me the channel. We'll support it. What do you do?
I'm an ordinary producer. I'm an activist. And
okay.
I produce music. I produce movies.
I can write songs.
Okay.
I mean, I write poems.
Do you like to have a contribution for what is going on in our society, brother?
Man, I've been helping kids. I ran business in this city. I'm 70. I did most stuff for young people that anybody can name. And me too. I teach kids every day. Non-profit program.
So
I worked for the job, so I did something to help the job. They was age 16 to 24. I'm 79. I'll be 80 my birthday. So.
But you look like 50. So, brother man.
He's running around like this.
So, brother man, it's my pleasure meeting the brothers here.
All right.
And I'm gonna solidarity with you consciously.
The central bank reportedly held around 144 tons of gold, enough to kickstart this new financial system. He believed that once the gold dinar took hold, not just African nations, but also many Muslim countries would follow suit. This would have weakened the grip of Western powers over African economies and, in effect, ended modern-day colonial influence. This wasn't the first time a leader had challenged the global financial system and faced severe consequences. Saddam Hussein, the former president of Iraq, made a similar move when he decided to sell oil in euros instead of US dollars. That decision put him at odds with the United States.
When colonization had lost its luster, through a combination of certain realities and agitation from the continent, we regained our independence. But as John Henry Clark, that great African American, said, we regained independence by mimicking European governance systems. And he rightly says, no African country will ever succeed on the basis of those systems. After that, the neo-colonial project was instituted, and all of us will remember Kwame Nkrumah's book, Neo-Colonialism, the Last Stage of Imperialism, and he there says the most dangerous. We are now in a neo-colonial stage. when the European powers are at their most diabolical, when the Americans are at their most diabolical, and it's not lost on me that they'll be meeting in Hiroshima next week as the G7. And how do they interfere? They interfere militarily. They ensure that you in the military are trained in Sandhurst, are trained in West Point, so they affect your mind.
All the politicians in northern Nigeria in the last 15 years, we should be held accountable to what is happening in northern Nigeria in terms of poverty, unemployment, lack of education, lack of security. As of 2016, some of us that live here in Kaduna, and Northwest in particular, were not aware of anything called banditry, kidnappings, or insurgency. If there's anybody here who is aware of that, can also attest to the fact that as of 2016, not 2019, 16, there was nothing like kidnappings even in Benogwari. I can tell you that for a fact. What went wrong?
Come, let me tell you the major problem of Nigeria. The major problem of Nigeria is northern part of the country. Northern Nigeria are the major problem of Nigeria. If you want to see conflict, northern Nigeria. Rape, northern Nigeria. Refugees, northern Nigeria. Thieves. In fact, if you want to see thieves stealing on an industrial scale, come to northern Nigeria. Thieves fully engaged in primitive accumulation, come to northern Nigeria. In fact, I am from northern Nigeria. I am proud to be an indigenous of Borno State. I am from Borno State. I am proud to be an indigenous of Borno State, from the northern part of the country. But I want to tell you that the major problem of this country is northern part of the country. These are people, if you want to see hatred, if you want to see conflict, if you want to see nepotism, cronyism, any other thing you can label. In fact, northern, if you carve out southern part of the country from Nigeria and give it 10 years, they are going to be recognized among community of nations because of the development they will have. 70% of the people who govern this country are from the northern part of the country. But if you want to see hunger, starvation, and any other thing, it's from the north. Why? We are the major problem. But our people doesn't want us to be speaking the truth. And that is why we continue to somersault in this kind of issue.
We have had a northern president from Katsina for 8 years. Before he came, we did not have a single IDP. All our local governments were safe. Now Katsina State, 22 out of 34 local governments, that is 65% of Katsina, is under siege. Borno State is more secure and safer than Katsina. That we had a president who is from there. That is a failing of us northerners. We need to look at ourselves. And now here we are. We have a leadership, we have a vice president number 2 who is from the north. We have a Speaker of the House who is number 4, who is from the north. We have an SGF who is from the north. We have the senior most military officer who is from the north. We have all the ministers of defense from the north. We have the Minister of Police from the north. We have the National Security Advisor from the north. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will look at us and say, you guys have no excuse not to bring peace to your land. So it is up to us to look at ourselves in the mirror, we northerners, especially those in government, and lock the door and say, people, how do we take care of these problems? President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the southwest cannot come and bring peace to us. It is us that must bring peace to ourselves. And it is not the military that will bring peace. I've said it again and again, banditry can never be won on the battlefield. We're just putting the military to clean up after this mess. They're everywhere. So northern leadership, all of us, must come in, lock the door and sit down and see how we can bring peace to our land. 15 years of Boko Haram, 9 years of banditry. Are we going to continue this forever? I have friends in the United States calling me and say, did you see the primary school where these kids were taken? Blown roof, nothing there. Well, this is the leadership of the North that fuels all of this. And we're looking elsewhere, we're blaming somebody else. No. Leaders of the North, those in government and out of government, it's time for us to look ourselves in the face and say, we have failed our people, we need to do better. The military cannot bring peace to ourselves. None. We must all get involved and stop this nonsense, this Boko Haram, this banditry.
I don't mean to be rude. I don't want to be rude to anybody, and I don't want to disrespect anybody, and I don't want to insult anybody. What I'm saying is that is the real truth. The real truth, the real problem of Nigeria, are Northerners. Northerners, Fulani, Hausa are the problem of Nigeria. They don't want our Nigerian progress. If they are not the one in power, then nobody can do it. It's only them that can do it. If you say you deprive Igbo people from having what is supposed to be theirs, allow them to go for their Biafra. If you say Yoruba people are not competent, they cannot rule Nigeria, allow them to go. Then we, the Northerners, should just stay and rule ourselves.
I'm so happy that we are now telling each other the truth. We are the ones who carry militias. We are the ones who go and carry cattle rustlers. We are the ones who have got companies that are doing business in government departments. We are the ones who are stealing the money. Look at the national government, call it down, bring it down to the National Assembly. We must begin to look at issues like CDF. We must look at the Women Fund. We must look at the structure. Do we need all the people who have been given offices? I've been asking this publicly. Why are governors running county governments as if they are private companies where they are stealing money, buying properties abroad, driving such big vehicles, including ourselves? We are supposed to be planting maize and giving farmers fertilizers and giving them funds so that we can get production and increase that, so that we create jobs for our people. It is we politicians who go and buy 2 million metric tons of maize. We come and sell. We bring 3 million metric tons of sugarcane. Mumias is dying. Chemelil is dying. Sony Sugar is dying. Those are factories that used to employ people. Who are the biggest dealers of investment companies in Kenya? We, the political class. Our national parks, but you hear money is being stolen by none other than the elites and the political class. These people are tired. I was crying this morning, today. We are messing up this country. Who wants to be a refugee? And there's enough for you people to eat, so long as you eat with manners.
Now, that is something this man said that I want to bring to your attention. And that is the place he said that the revenue they collect from their country, Kenya, is enough to run 8 African countries. 8 African countries. Imagine that. You know, I just checked, and Kenya is about 56 million, 200 and something thousand people. That's the total population as of today, 2024. You know, if such amount of money, if the amount of money that can run 8 countries should be coming out from such a country, just imagine what will be coming out from a country like Nigeria that has about 220 something million people. And I am sure that that is not the right figure. I have said it countless times that if the people do not react to that high level of bad leadership, nothing will change. Because just like what I used to say, that continent, those countries in Africa, they are buoyant enough to take care of whatever thing that the citizens need. You know, but if the citizens do not react to change the system of leadership, definitely everything will just remain the way it has been. In fact, it will keep worsening.
Poor people can't come to Nairobi Hospital. They can't come to Aga Khan. They can't. Some of them can't afford Kenyatta. You saw the other day, Kenyatta has a debt of 6.6 billion. The Eldoret Hospital, Eldoret KTRH, has a debt of 3.9 billion. When you ask, they tell you we don't know where the money went. Are we fools? Do we need to buy houses which have got 15 bedrooms and drive 19 cars and put them in your parking lot, and you want 10,000 acres of land? You want a ranch? You fools, you go and buy a ranch in Australia. Please. This is where we are. We keep blaming the police. The policeman cannot do anything. Have we ever gone as a Senate to go and see where the police lives? how he takes his kids to school and his salary is 19,000. And this house has to start thinking about those things. We guys must begin, and we ladies and gentlemen in this house must begin to agree that we can reduce our salaries, that we can drive smaller cars, that we can wear counters. In fact, the only thing I'm very annoyed about the president, I'm the one who started wearing counters. Now he has given counter a bad name. I want Kenyans to love counters the way I love them. Let us wake up, Kenyans. We can't play football. Money comes from FIFA, it is eaten. World Rally Championship, money comes from there, it's eaten. You go, you want Kenya Lawn Tennis Association, they only want 50,000 to hold an international tennis tournament. Not even the minister appears there. But when the minister is traveling out of the country, he's got how many people? Private jet, goes to Dubai, books one of those hotels, luxury hotels, and he comes back to Nairobi with the same 9 people he took with a private jet. I really want to say this, Madam Speaker, finally. I was nearly giving up on my country. I have changed my mind because of today. The young men who are fighting for this country have done us proud. Let us treat them with dignity. Let us make sure we engage them. Let us stop doing the things which make them angry, desperate, and upset with the ruling class. The truth is, if this country breaks down, it takes all of us down.
You're watching this from Abidjan or from Atlanta, from Dakar or Detroit. You are part of this moment. The question isn't whether change is coming to Africa. Change is already here. The question is, are you going to be part of the solution, part of the problem? Share this perspective, because every time an African person anywhere in the world understands that our resources, our leadership, and our future don't have to be dictated by foreign powers, the movement grows even stronger. The code they don't want you to see isn't just happening in Ivory Coast. It is happening everywhere. It's happening wherever Africans are waking up to their own power. And once we are fully awake, there is no force on earth that will put us back to sleep.
It happened just before sunrise. At 5:43 a.m., a trembling voice broke across the national broadcaster CRTV. There was no anthem, no official ceremony, just a tight-faced military spokesperson reading from a single sheet of paper. The President of the Republic, Paul Biya, is no longer in command. The armed forces have taken control in the name of national survival. Cameroonian sovereignty begins now. Then, silence. No explanation, no footage, no Biya. The signal cut to black. For a moment, the country froze. Then, as the sun rose over Yaoundé, Cameroon woke up in a different reality. The man who had ruled them for more than 40 years, who had outlived coups, outmaneuvered rivals, and vanished for months while governing from foreign hospitals, was gone. Whispers spread fast. Is it real? Is Biya dead? Who's in charge now? By 7 a.m., armored vehicles surrounded the Atudi presidential palace. Black SUVs pulled into the Ministry of Defense. Airport traffic halted. Key generals were nowhere to be seen. And the people, they came pouring into the streets, not with fear, but with tears, laughter, and trembling hope. In Douala, crowds gathered around phone screens, watching replays of the announcement like it was a dream. In Bamenda, the church bells rang unprompted. In Bafoussam, school children chanted, 50 years, we were not born, now we walk free. Older men wept openly, women dropped to their knees in prayer. For decades, Paul Biya had seemed eternal, a shadow that stretched across generations, a ghost behind every decision, every lost opportunity, every broken promise. But now, the shadow was gone. No gunshots, no fire, just a country waking up from a half-century coma, a quiet coup, a loud miracle. And somewhere, in the halls of silence, the world began to ask, if Paul Biya can fall, who's next? It didn't happen overnight. It only looked that way. Behind the silence, months of planning had unfolded under the radar. A slow, precise unraveling of Africa's oldest dictatorship. The architects of the coup weren't rebels from the forest or foreign-backed plotters. They were Biya's own generals, men who had worn his insignia for decades and had allowed. In the end, Paul Biya wasn't overthrown by rebels, foreigners, or exiles. He was brought down by something far more dangerous, those who knew him best. The betrayal came from inside his own palace, from men who had eaten at his table, sworn loyalty at his feet, and guarded his life through 2 generations of power. At the heart of the betrayal was Sergeant Didier Ecoulé, a quiet, disciplined bodyguard who had stood outside Biya's presidential suite for over a decade. But what Biya never knew was this. Didier's father had once been jailed for criticizing the regime. His uncle had died in the Anglophone crisis, and his younger brother had been shot during a protest in Douala. To Biya, Didier was just another uniform, but to the movement rising beneath the surface, he was the key.
da za mu sai da mayafi domin mu nemi makami. Lokaci yayi, lokaci yayi, mu je mu sai da mayafi, mu je mu nemi makami. Ada kone kauyukan ku wawa kaje kana sayan borgo, sarkin bacci me za ka yi da borgo? This is the voice of the watchman. I'm standing on my tower. I am calling with the Lord's voice. This is the voice of the watchman.
The music, bro. It's early. It's early. It's early. Jesus Christ don't proclaim any title. His proclamation is love, love, which is love, love. In the name of love, love.
In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love. Yeah, let the music play. Oh yeah, let the music roll. Oh yeah, let the music play. In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love. Let's do it for what you read, for what you show. In the name of love. Let's do it. Let's do it. One day. In the name of love. 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 Let's do it for what you read, for what you show. In the name of love. In the name of love. In the name of love. Jesus Christ don't proclaim any title. His proclamation is love. 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 In the name of His proclamation is love. 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 I'm preaching psychologically. Teaching psychologically. In the name of love. Because love is my salvation. Yeah, my love.
So, in God we trust.
massive. Yes. Still remember that every time our US man must be celebrated. Right on this day, that's the time of the dragon. The city whereby is always being celebrated. Some activities to make people feel. You can see the ones right here, run by gas and also run also by electricity. Hey, make me home! Make me home! It's gonna be the year of a dragon right here in Washington DC. As we have a new elect president, Donald J. Trump.
Snake year. Not a dragon year, snake year.
Snake year. Alright, nobody's the president, they're gonna be a snake year. Alright, so we're right here in what is a place called Chinatown. As you can see the background, it's like we're really in China today, of which everybody, the Asians, the Russians, the Europeans, the American, the African, we also we're the brothers of history, wherever we are. Let's see what the year of the snake would look like. We never heard of the year of a chimpanzee.